Hey, this is Notser, and today this is Untitled. We're going to be talking about some test ships that were introduced in 7.12 and just how bad they are. It really is hard to play them and see any potential in that version. It just has to be buffed, and I'll talk about those. Also, the Alaska was announced at 1 million free XP. Is that cool? Is that uncool? And I'm just going to leave my feedback on that. And then finally, I just want to wish everyone a happy holidays and talk to you about the events that have come up for World of Warships for the holidays, and hopefully everyone's having a great time. But first, let's talk about those test ships, and in particular, the 3 test ships that look very, very mediocre in their versions. First one we're going to talk about is the Tier 9 Soviet destroyer, the Notser. It is a Grozovoi with 2 less guns, so it's very Ognivoy-esque, but it also has access to the massive amount of consumables that the Grozovoi gets to enjoy. Now this ship, it's not terrible, it's just underpowered in so many ways, and it feels like I can't go to the absolute maximum to try and get success in the ship. I just lack the firepower, the basic firepower to deal with all of the problems. You know, every single DD line has really moved towards being able to use their guns very effectively, and a gun system that only has 4 guns at Tier 9 just doesn't cut it against the competition. You need a little bit more gun firepower, especially in the current design against other DDs. I don't know, maybe with defensive AA, it'll have value with the CV rework, but right now, Notser, it's very difficult to recommend it. Another ship that's very difficult to recommend at all, the Tier 6 Italian destroyer, Leone. It's just awful in so many ways. So, painting this picture for you, it has 8 120mm guns. These are very similar to the British guns without the British fire chance. They have a super floaty shell, like one of the most floaty shells I've ever seen in the game, and the reload is 8 seconds base. But you have 8 guns at Tier 6. What's wrong, Notser? It's the gun velocity. The shells are so floaty that it's almost impossible to hit a target that's past 7 or 8 kilometers if they're actively maneuvering. That's absolutely insane. And on top of that, you've got 4 12-kilometer range torpedo systems, 4 total torpedoes, so 2 launchers. So you have minimal impact and a fast recharge on the torpedoes, but we exist in a world where the guns have to deliver. They have to at least be useful, otherwise you're giving up a ton to every other ship in the game. They've buffed it so much that these guns, they stand out for being incredibly crappy. I have yet to find a game where I would be like, yeah, this is really great. I really want to have super floaty shells that have a super long reload and torpedoes that are basically useless in most instances. I really hope that they go back to the drawing board on this one because, boy, there's nothing I want to share with it. It's awful. It's a terrible ship. Speaking of another terrible ship, the Yahagi. This is the Tier 5 Japanese light cruiser. This is the ship that has 6 155mm guns, and it has torpedoes. Now, the torpedoes are very impressive, both in their impact and their power level. Unfortunately, the torpedo arc is so minimal because of the superstructure of the ship. You basically have to be perfectly broadside to send the torpedo at all. It plays very similar to the U-Body. This is I think it's the Tier 4 Japanese cruiser that came out, or DD that came out way in the past, and it had a similar weakness where the torpedo arc was so horrendous you could never incorporate it in your play, ever. And I don't really feel like Yahagi deserves that. You know, it's a light cruiser for the Japanese. There's not a lot of light cruisers for the Japanese. You got the Mogami, and you've got the early tiers, but the Yahagi is just completely mediocre in every way, and it basically has no torpedoes, and it has a minimal loadout. It has a loadout that, you know, DDs would laugh at Tier 5. So it really needs a lot of love. just as the previously discussed ships. They really aren't there yet. And I want the gameplay to be more enjoyable for the player. You know, if the Italian one requires, better gun velocity and you can't deliver it without sacrificing something, do the sacrifice. Because as it stands right now, it's a ship that I will never, ever, ever play. I will never, ever, ever love the gun velocity. And the torpedo systems are mediocre. The whole system needs to be improved, or no one's going to have any interest in an Italian destroyer. If the gun velocity is indicative of what we should expect, well, yeah, never play them ever. Never, ever, ever play them. It's just not there yet. And it's unfortunate. That's why there hasn't been any videos for it. Now, ships that are there, ships that are absolutely there, the Azuma, the Unitas, the Alaska, the Wichita. These are ships that previously I've tested, and I feel confident that they're going to deliver. They need to go back to the drawing board on the Italian, the Japanese, and the Soviet ships. They need help. They need a lot of help. Now, we were talking about the holiday events, and I love the holiday events. I think they're great. The Mighty Prince, the Steel Monsters, the Snowflakes, the rank sprint, all of these things encourage players to play the game. And you know what else encouraged players to play the game? The Twitch drop system. Now, if you're not familiar, Wargaming instituted a pretty high return on your time invested watching a stream. Twitch allows you to do drops. And if Wargaming knows that you have a Twitch account, they can then see that you're watching World of Warships and then reward you for that. This has been absolutely wonderful. This single change has encouraged all of the World of Warship streamers to grow rapidly, and I think that's great for a couple reasons. Yes, obviously, World of Warships viewership is going up. That allows players to see more content and find the type of style they like, but it also should casually inform the player base. Every single player that watches other players who are probably more experienced and have played the game longer and have a larger inventory, they will just passively gain more knowledge just through seeing ships they've never seen before, seeing situations they've never seen before, and perhaps the content itself is a great vehicle for players to improve. And I think that's great. I think that's exactly what I'm hoping will come from Twitch drops, and I would love that to be encouraged further. Maybe Wargaming gives you a container if you watch one of their how-to videos. How does flooding work? How does fires work? Penetration. Anything that gives you a very specific amount of information and it's signed off by Wargaming, maybe they can, I don't know, maybe YouTube institutes some drop system. Twitch has done this and it works great. I would love for it to be instituted, though, across all the different content platforms. It's always good to encourage people to at least view parts of the game that they're not familiar with. I always encourage players to, play every class at least once. Try your best. Understand what their strengths and weaknesses are, and it'll make you a better player. And I think Twitch streaming, I think YouTube, all this stuff is a great vehicle for that as well. And we're seeing the very early stages of encouraging that kind of content just through the developers themselves. So really excited for that. The holiday events are great. They are a lot of work, though. A lot of work. A lot of co-op play from a lot of players for snowflakes. I don't blame them at all. And then, of course, the Mighty Prince and Prince Idle Friedrich, all these different rewards. It's a lot. And, obviously you want to get it, but don't completely forget your family, Try to enjoy the holidays. I certainly am going to enjoy the holidays, and I encourage all of you. I've loved streaming. I've loved talking to all of you. Wishing you Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, New Year's. Every single thing that's coming up. The stream has been great. YouTube has been wonderful. Everyone, I can't thank you enough. I hope you have a lovely, lovely 2019. I will continue to be here, and we will continue to improve the content. I definitely look forward to creating videos and streaming for all of you every single day. I can't wait to do more. I can't wait to see all of the new content that's coming. And I mean, it's coming rapidly because in January we have the CV rework. That's going to require a lot of coverage. Commander resets, completely different modules being placed in the game, both for the aircraft carrier but for everyone else. They're removing the ability to extend AA range. That's a huge impact on your strategy. So January is going to be pretty full of just trying to understand all of the changes they implemented. I hope that everyone has a lovely Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year's. I'll catch you all again soon. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.